berserk with this hero.
And this is something very interesting as well, because Ryoma is banned, and Malok is banned as well by GTV. I mean, the standard double pickup here, you're looking at Malok and Ormar. Ormar will be there, but Chaugnar being left open. They did ban it in the first game, remember, and has moved up in their priorities to be worthy of these first 2 picks.
Well, with the change of bans, they've managed to pick up that Zill yet again for Liang. We had questions about the amount of damage he was able to output on that and whether he was pulling his weight. But it certainly wasn't an impressive statistic at the end of the game. He was falling in line with some of the tankier members when it should really be a lot higher than that.
They are, instead of the Chaugnar, going to prioritize the Airy. So it's going to be Ormar and Airy being locked in, which means that they do have the Chaugnar available for SMG.
Well, you wanted some side lane pressure. The Ryoma is gone. They were previously banning out the Airy instead, and now Airy is available for GTV to take. And with that on the board, they can obviously utilize her stun. Now, we talked about it. Chaugnar got through the draft phase. He's now locked in on the side of Hanzo. He's played Joker very well, I must say, in the past 2 games. I've been very impressed. It's looked very clean from him. There was 1 or 2 mistakes. You can grant him that. But for the most part, it's been a very good, and the amount of damage he was able to ramp up much earlier in the game than what you expect from a Joker was very impressive. Now they've got the Chaugnar in their pick. They like to play this with a tankier composition, and they, rather than go for marksmans, they go for these highly mobile warrior assassins available to them, like the Zill, like the Nakroth.
Nakroth obviously getting locked in with the Chaugnar. Both sort of top-tier mid laners. Obviously, you've got Chaugnar, who's sort of this new Surgeons, but the L'Oreal and the Raz both banned, means that Praetor could be on the cards here for GameTV, sort of sat at that 3rd place mid priority, potentially behind the Chaugnar, but we haven't sort of factored that in just yet. The Hover's going over for Zephys as well. Praetor does get locked in, as does Zephys.
Yeah, so Praetor not being picked up a lot by this team, so I don't think they've been forced to relegate to the lower tier of those mid laners in the form of Praetor. So not really any recorded data on them about how that pick stacks up. But we know it's been consistent, especially early on in the tournament. If L'Oreal and Raz are off the board, you go for Praetor. And this was pre-SMG's introduction to the tournament, where they showed that Chaugnar was a viable alternative. And I mentioned about how the composition was going to be tanky. Zenial, Kresh, they're locking. They're about as tanky as you can get to mix up, considering they've already taken away the Ormar and the Malok has been banned.
Lubu has managed to slip his way on through the draft, down all the way down to last pick, which could be picked up for GameTV if they so choose. Maybe looking to just pop that one into the rest of their comp. So as you said, very, very tanky. Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised to potentially see a Slims coming out, which is available for GameTV, but they are actually going to change it up and go for the Murad.
So yeah, they played it.
Cross that out.
They played it in game 1, and they played it in game 1, and that was when we saw an overzealous play that cost them the game ultimately. And this is when GameTV still had the lead in the game, and it was mistakes like that that allowed SMG to come back and ultimately win it out. Whether Bachan can be a little bit more reserved and not fall prey to his hunger for kills, especially in the late game, will decide whether they can actually close it out with a Murad on their side this time around.
That's the thing, though. Who is he going to be jumping on? I mean, you've got the Necroth and the Zill, both very, very mobile. They can get away from what he has to do. He's
counting on being able to outdamage his Diet Coke counterpart, which is Zill. We say that he's Murad-like, and they're counting on being able to take him down, outdamage him. So if Zill is prioritizing Murad, he just goes, right, I'll turn it around on you then. I can evade your damage as much as you can evade mine. And it becomes a skill matchup on how they're cycling through their abilities.
We'll see who comes out on top. I mean, we've seen Zill match up with Murad a couple of times in 1v1 so far. And from what we've seen, it seems like Zill is better in the 1v1. Murad may be slightly more impactful in the team fights in terms of what damage they have, but we'll see just how they are able to stack up as GameTV take on SMG in set number 3. What a nice little poem in this best of 7.
Murad's strength and where he beats out Zill is just the cooldown on his ultimate. And being able to late game to be able to burst down multiple members and get out safely and then go back in a couple of seconds later after getting a couple of auto attacks in is what beats him out against Zill. Zill doesn't have that level of reset in his kit.
See what they opt to go for. So SMG on the blue side for the first time in this best of 7. GameTV on the red again for the first time. Looks like SMG are positioning around this Might Golem side of the jungle. GameTV have a reverse invade, and they are just going to trade those buffs over. So not too much more than just the standard start for both of these teams.
And beyond the invades, which have been done quite safely, knowing that there's no vision, you obviously sent Murad into scout. He's got the ability to get away should something go wrong. And then they realize no one's in there, so I'm going to call in reinforcements, get this Might Golem a little bit quicker before they rotate back around into the jungle. Beyond those invades, everyone was playing quite passively. There were no more than grouped than 2 members at the same time. And they're just going to roam around because they're focusing very much on the laning phase very early on to get whatever slight edge they can and try and avoid the roaming that can be quite costly if you can't pick up the kills to back it up.
This is something we see a lot of Ormars do as well, positioning in that side brush, just trying to secure the safety of that mid laner. We see him generally, when Thane is picked up, battling over that bottom side brush so that they can gain that advantage. But without the Thane there to challenge it, it will just go over to Ormar, and it looks like they're going to use that vision to push on in towards the jungle.
I think Liang just spotted them out there.
Yeah, it should have done, as they did cross over towards the bot side, but there's no one to gank down there. They are essentially either pushing the wave or wasting their time as SMG pressure in the top lane.
That's such a safe position to take when the lane is being pushed out, to go into that, to see when people are coming down to enter your lane for a gank. Knowing that information, he's given that over to his teammates, and now they're trying to set up an ambush of their own.
Oh no, Genji, you should have had that information, the jump across. Not quite able to find it, but the Zenial ultimate's there.
Multi-man stun!
Mura tries to drop the ult, but it hits no one. Here comes Chi-Chi on the side. First kill going over to Liang. They're going to try and take some more though. PS Man and Pro both under the turret. Very, very low. Bichan is trying to trade the kills back, but nothing has happened just yet. Serenia is too tanky to be taking down the Murad, and they're going to go and continue this dive.
He's got the mana for the knockup.
It's going to fall. The knockup comes through. Liang finds another kill, and 4 kills for SMG in the first 3 minutes. They are off to a roaring start.
And that all started because of Zill's vision control in that jungle.
You see that ultimate from Bachan didn't hit anybody. No, none of that damage connected, and they were able just to continue, and that massive knockup from the Zenial was absolutely huge. That's going to give the Abyssal Dragon, ooh, maybe not. It's going to be secured by Liang. Not quite able to go for the steal. PS Man didn't have the punish as his talent.
Having that vision control in the jungle, being able to give that information to the enemy to let them know that there is a huge presence of enemies in the bot lane. They could have 2 options. They either let them sit there and waste their time, or they think, you know what, we can win this fight early. I've got my ultimate available. Let's kick things off. Pulls down allies from the mid and jungle, has the fight, dominates it, and was able to gain an advantage, a 2k advantage, less than 3 minutes into the game.
And that's the prowess of Zenial. You can leave him in that side lane. You can say, you know what, just go farm up, get all the gold you can. We'll snap our fingers, you jump in when we say so. And that's exactly what happened.
So now this is what SMG can do with this advantage. They've got a pincer going on the Chan at the moment.
He used the ultimate already, so he's not going to be trying to use that for damage. He used it just to negate a little bit of that targetability and let his team flow in around him. And that was able to secure his safety for now, but for how long is that going to last?
They're going to keep the pressure on in this top lane. He sent Genji round. He leashed the minions for Hanzo to clear out. So now they effectively proxy the wave, keeps them under the tower, so they can take the Spirit Sentinel. If they decided to rotate round for other objectives, it still leaves Ormar open for the dive.
3 men for GameTV actually moving down towards this bot side, but the stun from Eri isn't going to hit. Bichan tries to jump in, but there's the Zenial ultimate to secure what could be an engage here. Crash dropping the man.
Oh, deleted!
And is quickly followed to the grave by Henry on that Eri, and Chi-Chi isn't done just yet. Trying to follow it onto XP on that Praetor. He's going to be able to get away back underneath his turret. SMG finding all the picks that they need, and they are a little bit miffed after dropping a game against GameTV.
Yeah, I don't think they're too happy about the XP. Caught out handedly in that jungle by Chi-Chi, and of course Serenia.
Pro trying to defend that turret, but it's a losing game, my friend. You've got 2 players just bearing down on that turret. It's not going to last you too long. Mid turret opened up as well. 7-0, 13.6k to 8.7k. SMG have all the cards in their hand. All the cards except the Joker. That's true. That's true. They didn't pick it up, but it doesn't seem like they need to. They don't need to pick it up if they can end this game in due course. Yes, GameTV are also lacking a marksman, but I feel as though the damage output coming out from that lineup towards the later ends of the game, especially with the likes of Praetor ramping up, as well as the Zephyrus and the Eri,
it becomes too threatening for SMG, and I think they would be able to come back into it, assuming they don't fall too far behind.
With the security that Serenia proves, though, it might be tricky to burst through all of the damage coming through, but GameTV are going to try. Serenia not tanky quite enough just yet, and is going to get taken down with the double team in the bot lane.
Commitment on the bot side opens up the top side, and guess what? Chi-Chi secures that top outer tower. That's 2 in the bag for SMG. They're sitting at 5.4k gold in the lead at the moment, around about the 6-minute marks. They might be going for the 1k gold lead a minute.
Ooh, and Necroth so threatening in this sort of mid-game situation. Only 1 kill going over, you said, to the Airy. Well, Henry being able to use that to his advantage, try and scale that up, continue to pressure, but a 6-minute Darkslayer on the guard for SMG. They are unaware here for GameTV. They're going to try and rotate in.
And they're putting Genji in a position where he can disengage with the Metamorphosis to stop them from getting the ult.
Onto it. He's not even going to need to drop Metamorphosis. Could go for the stun, but that's the Darkslayer immediately, and SMG just rotate away. Zenial still in that bot lane, going for the push. We might find out how that's going to go. Just a moment.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yep, unfortunately. Oh,
we're back.
Oh, we're back. Okay. So he is in that bot lane. We'll find out. We are going to find out how that is going to go.
It's like it never happened.
It's unfortunate. I mean, they were obviously the stream was obviously as surprised about that early Darkslayer as we are.
Yeah. Couldn't quite catch up to it. But Genji sat in the mid lane. So now they've got the Darkslayer. They're going to be using Genji to initiate with the Crest ultimate, send in Zenial to provide that support, and then they're just going to allow the CC lockup to take effect and get Chaugnar into the center to start dealing this radius damage.
They're sieging away this jungle as well, just playing that war of attrition, denying the XP, denying the farm and gold. You can see it's working. Pro on level 7. Still, Chan trying to find some damage, but with 3 tanks to come up against, you're really going to have your work cut out for you. Because Hanzo obviously on that Chaugnar, whilst he is going to be able to pump out a lot of damage, he has a lot of health to get through as well, and Henry doesn't have quite so much. So Chi-Chi and Hanzo could try and take him down, but Beichan is going to be there. He's going to be able to drop the ult, but is he going to be able to
baited him into a trap?
4 players. There's the Metamorphosis. The ultimate isn't going to have enough damage. GameTV rotating in. Liang caught out under the turret, but he's just going to dash back over the wall. Genji tanks up, and that is going to be the turret falling as well. GameTV try and find something more, but Henry isn't going to be able to do enough damage to get through that. The mid lane turret will be soon to fall as well as SMG just rotate around the map, taking what they want, when they want. Genji, though, is going to go down with a little bit of a misposition. Serenia not able to save that one. He dashes away over the wall.
So what happened there was they baited in Beichan. They said, hey, I'm squishy, I'm underneath tower, come get me. Comes into the tower, they fold around through the red side jungle, collapse into him. Yes, you had Liang tanking up the tower, but he's got the mobility to get away, but it leaves Murad in the center just to get decimated. And from there, Crash drops the ultimate. He's able to tank up that tower, survive along. It's a powerful shield when he turns into the Metamorphosis form, and he's just able to sustain the tower whilst also whittling it down even closer. So it just took a couple of taps after the fight was done. But it all started off with Necroth. He gets 3 auto attacks in, and then he dives forward, uses the 4 for the knock-up, and gets his damage combo out.
9 minutes into the game, and there's a 10k gold lead for SMG. They are certainly ahead so far. Will they be able to close this one out? We've seen GameTV Turtle in several of their games versus their quarterfinal opponents and their semi-final opponents as well, able to put them through. And that allowed them, they were able to just farm around these high ground turrets and try and keep themselves alive, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it against SMG.
Well, if they're going to try and brute force a tower, Crash is the person you've got to have doing it. Metamorphosis can be strong if it's landed onto multiple people. That initial wave can make or break an engagement. And they've lost the Darkslayer, so now is not the time for it. They're going to need to wait for, if they want to brute force it, they will have to wait for a mistake or another Darkslayer on the field. Without the range, it's very difficult, and things can still be turned upside down with some poor decision making.
Where they opt to put the pressure now is up to SMG. They're going to go for the top lane, and Henry is going to get burst down to half. There's the Metamorphosis. The long-range stun is going to come in, and GameTV try to go in on the sidelines, but you're not going to find an opening. Hanzo has to back off, but it's not going to matter. The damage is done. Beichan will fall as well. And now it's the rest of GameTV to fall down as well. They're just going to go one by one, and yet again, SMG roll on through with a 10-minute victory. They're going to take game number 3 to bring the scoreline 2-1 in this best of 7. 2 more games for them. They will be able to take home the title and that $100,000 bonus to their paycheck.
And you just noticed there, Chalknar there, Hanzo making a gesture for Chalknar, holding his nose, waving his arm around like a trunk. Very happy with that previous performance. A reinvigorated SMG after 2 very shaky matches. There is the supposedly strongest team in the world showing up, and another replay of that for you right there.
Love it. I think that's going to be the new thing.
Yeah, well, see what happens when SMG take the Chalknar. They were banning it previously, but I think if they're forced on the blue side again and they want to take Chalknar, they should either do it or force GameTV to ban Chalknar.
So this is the thing, because what I think is happening with this is they don't think that Chalknar is worth that first 2 pick, priority on the side of SMG. So if they're on the red side, they need to ban it away because GTV will pick it up in that second rotation of their picks. But if they're on the blue side, they don't ban it away because they think GTV have the same mindset. They're going to be able to pick it up with that second rotation, which is what we saw happen here.
It's not even Chalknar who was the highest damage dealer that we usually see in these compositions. It's actually Chi-Chi, and he was being very proactive on this Nakrov. He was the one setting up these early engagements, utilizing that forced attack passive to start off the fights and have the follow-up CC come on from Genji when it was beneficial. Looking on the other side, Murad and Praetor were the primary damage dealers of that team. Zephyrus didn't really find his own in that one, nor did Irie, but that's because the game didn't go late enough and they weren't in a good enough position for Henry to become impactful.
I just want to say, Zenial had 20% of damage dealt to heroes in that fight as well, which is a lot more than we usually see. So.
A lot, yeah, so that's mainly because there's more damage threats on the team. Zenial does output damage, but when you've consolidated it into a tankier lineup, obviously the distribution is a little bit off with it.
Yeah, so they will be moving into game number 4 pretty soon. I believe we have a break. I'll have to double check that. But for now, let's take a look at the highlights from this game, see how SMG were just able to run away with it.
And this is that first collapse, that bait using the information from some very creative placement by Liang, just to catch it out. There's the engage. You can see this is the ultimate where the Chang is caught underneath, and now Liang's tanking it up from Probe. He's got the ability to get out, but you've still got Genji to deal with under that tower. And then here's the mistake that cost them the game. Henry going too low, forces out the initiation from Kresh. Tower was low enough to be taken without completing the fight, and they just decimate them through all the way to the core.
SMG just showing us just why people are scared of them. Continuing with their phrase, GTV who?
Yeah, pretty much. It's that game, it was GameTV who.
Exactly. Well, that was game number 3. See when we're going to be getting into game number 4.
I think we're going to be jumping straight into game number 4. I think we might have a break after the next game.
Probably. I don't know. It's because, of course, so after short games, you have to change up the schedule slightly, so sometimes these breaks do fall through the cracks. But game number 4 is on the cards, and I, for one, am ready.
Oh, no, I need like 2 more minutes.
Do you? Okay, fine. We'll just be quiet for 2 minutes.
We'll just wait. We'll go over to Korea. We'll get them to pause.
Ah, silence. But no, we're not gonna shut up for that long because it's pick ban for game number 4. And again, SMG actually going onto the blue side, and that Razban once more will come out as that priority for them.
So again, Raz on blue side. I think them definitely being on the blue side is going to force something to happen with the Chalknar. I don't think